Welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live stream for Ustream.tv and also a recording for YouTube for people to watch at their leisure. I'm in the Colin Thompson Fantastic book and I'm zoomed in so that I'm working with my tablespoon of water and my baby wipe to take off excess water. And the three pens are the Pro Art 103 series, and there's a 3, a 5 and a 6. And that's going to give me a bigger area, which probably I don't need to use at the moment. I'll probably use the thinner one for most of the work and the medium-sized one. And that's given me a damp brush. As you can see, it's only damp. There's no water to squeeze out. A damp brush that I can just tease colour. We're working slightly wetter than the Bible journaling because that's got to be quite dry. This is a little bit wetter, and then I'm just going to stroke the page. So we'll get some colour in these little elves, I think they are. And that's his hand. I'm just putting a flat colour on for the moment, and I've actually coloured in his top there, which I probably will do a different colour next time. And then he's hidden behind there, and again, you know, I've touched it but it's dry, so that's good. I do actually quite like this colour. It was a nice colour, that. So I've got a little flower on there. I'll use the deep cadmium. Quite like the idea of a little yellow flower there. So there's 3 little flowers on there, and that's just touching a little bit of colour. I can go back in later if I want. So that's a blue butterfly. So the worst thing is deciding what colours, what colours to use. So thanks for joining me. This it's not raining here, but it's miserable, shall we say. It's a miserable day. I could use a terracotta pot, but it's very similar. So I might just put a little... I'm quite into this burnt carmine colour at the moment here. Oops. I really like this burnt carmine. It's a pinky colour. It's not showing brilliantly, but it's a pinky colour. And again, the trusted photocopy paper, just to test that that's the colour that I want. I think that might be a kind of nice contrast. And just teasing that colour around. And again, these Derwent watercolour pencils behave themselves very well because they're not fixed when they're dry, so you can tease them out a little bit, and obviously this page is going to be a little bit better behaved than a Bible journal page, but that's what you're aiming for if you can get that. I'm conscious of the fact that my mouth now is over the top of the camera, and I think that makes that a little bit too loud. So do tell me if you need that bit louder. And I'm not sure what's behind there. I think it's the bottom of the pot. I do really want to do that terracotta. If it doesn't work out, I will go over it with a deeper brown, but quite like that colour. It's not too bad. So thank you for stopping by, guys. It's a bit early in the UK. It's 6:30. So that was a little bit wet, but I can get into here now. And I just need the corner. Just to soak that up. Excuse my stomach this morning. I had a yoghurt so I could have some painkillers. That's good. I'm going to try and lose some weight. It's probably in the new year. So I'll be maybe doing a blog about that. Because as much as I like Slimming World, I'm going to use the principles of Slimming World, but then there's a lot of things I can't have, which is a little bit annoying. So I wanted to do something that people could follow and then take alternatives, because we can't have a bit of a strange combination, that pink. Don't think I like it, so it is dry. I'm just going to put a brown over that because I'm not quite happy with it. It's probably a little bit darker than I wanted, but I'm using the chocolate colour. Shouldn't say the word chocolate when I want to. I'm supposed to be dieting. I probably should have gone in there with a smaller brush. That's probably going to be a better idea. I'm struggling with quite a large brush. And when you put them next to the Bible journaling pens that I've been using, the paintbrushes, there is a big difference. I was using these for the Bible journal page. These are a lot wetter. Again, I don't really like that. It's a bit bright, but it's done now. And I really didn't like the pink. So it's quite nice that I could get rid of that pink with the brown. And it's coloured in, so it'll be fine. Probably going to there comes a point where you have to, I don't know if you can hear this, you have to squeeze the baby wipe out because it's got too wet, and we want it damp, so that's probably why that was that little bit too damp that I didn't like it. So we can squeeze that. I mean, you can throw it away and get another one if you wanted, but it is soaking up quite a lot of water, you don't realise. And I was going to change the colour, I don't think I like that colour. So I'm going to change the colour. I'll just do this for a second. Hopefully I haven't. Hopefully I haven't done anything to that. So I quite like that area. I think that's a lamp. So again, that wants to be that really nice. I think we'll do that. I'm using the gold, I think, for lamps at the moment. So we'll colour that in. Now I do actually have a lamp like this, a lampshade, and it's pink. But I don't think it wants to be pink. And then I'm going to do that. It looks brass, but I'm going to do it wood. And I'm going to do that a sepia colour. And if I pick off different areas of it, should have a bit of a watercolour effect. So that's done. I think this is what you do with this. You just keep picking things off as you go about. Again, that must be then. I can't remember what colour I used. I think I used brown gold. Let me just have a look at the brown gold. It was the these pages, I thought it looked like a cabbage, but I think it is the actual pine cone. So again, you'll have to forgive me if I go in my own little world, but it's a really nice way of working this. And you kind of get in your own little world. So sometimes you forget to talk, so I have to remind me. There's a giraffe there, look. I missed that last time. There's a giraffe. So we'll have a look at Mr. Giraffe. So that's a brighter, a raw sienna probably. I think that's the brightest, is a raw sienna. And again, the beauty of this is it's already done for you. Most of the work's done. You can just touch the colour and stroke across the whole of the image, and it's a grayscale, so it naturally just does everything for you. So that's quite nice. So now we have our little giraffe coloured in as well. Oh, thanks, Chris. Christy, sorry, darling, I'm squinting. Thank you. It's a lovely way of working, though. As I say, I use it for all the brushwork is the same. I'm rather boring, but it doesn't. But I'm using different mediums, whether it's watercolour, professional watercolours, or whether it's these. I'm using the same principle of a damp brush, and then you don't damage your pages, because some pages are a little bit better than others. But I wanted this Colin Thompson one to be, again, the Derwent watercolours so lend themselves to these beautiful drawings. Sorry, bark alert, terror. So there's another little terracotta pot that I don't know what he's barking at. And the worst thing, he doesn't know what he's barking at. So we have a seed cake drawer. So I've decided the only thing I'm going to do differently is, and this is for all the Colin Thompson wood, all the shelves and all the wood, is going to be the professional watercolour. I think these are not, I think these are professional watercolour. The little half pans I cut off and put a millimetre in my little book. This is the one that I like the most. So, and it doesn't matter how much water I have. they're all going to be connected because there'll be different shades. Sorry about that. So if I go underneath here, all the way down there, I can then, because I've done this, I've got this damp brush with all this colour. When I go over now, there should be a lighter shade, and that's instead of making. I've still got the same brush again, which is lovely. You can get quite a few things out of this, and then I can always go in. The brush isn't as damp now because it's dried, because it is literally about 3 inches from a lamp, so it's going to dry very quickly. If I'm not happy, I can go back in there and darken that. And make these really quite dark steps. But I thought that would give that a little bit of continuity. And you can create a shadow here by just stroking a little bit more colour in. And roughly the same shape as that. And that should give you a natural shadow. Oops. A lady left a comment on YouTube, and again, I'm terrible for names. I should write things down, but it was 3 in the morning, and I said, she asked if I would do some more work in this book. So there is a video on a full page of the books, but this is different. I'm working slightly differently. Again, but still trying to get some nice watercolour effects, but working extremely dry. So again, if I touch that, and all I'm doing is just touching that little natural. There's a little natural dip in there, which will get bigger and bigger the more I go. And I'm just going to stroke the colour into here. And again, that's the shadow of this, so we can go over that again gently. Just creating a little bit of a shadow. And of course that's going to be really dark, that one. Now I'll probably go back with a little tiny brush, but sometimes I don't really like to go back. I can give that some colour as well. And then I can just touch that once. And they don't look like they are touched, but they are, so go back in there. And I've got a really pale colour there. So I'm probably going to touch that again. And then that is a tree that goes up here, so I'm going to leave that. There's all sorts going on behind here as well. Oh, that's a fish pond, so that's a fish pond in there. And there's some green lilies in here. Again, that's the same brown that's here behind the chicken, so we'll do that bit as well. Again, because I'm under lamps, you've got to keep checking your brush to see if you've got that damp, because you do need the damp. And I say I'm working so that's without any colour, and it still looks quite good because obviously he's done all the work for you. But if you kind of just that's probably a little bit too much, and there's a bit of a shadow there. And then under here, so again you've got to keep the colour on here, and then if you saunter down here it will naturally get lighter because you've got the colour on the end and you've got all the damp, so it naturally gets lighter. And but it's dry as a bone, so that's quite nice. Because I would put my hand on that and smudge it. So, I think these are terracotta pots, actually, I've just realised. So I'm going to go back to the Derwent. So that's the only colour that I've changed. And I did that for the other one as well. So that little bit of, that tiny bit of watercolour here, the burnt umber, is responsible for the colour of all the shells on the book page that we did earlier. If I can get to it without making everybody sick. And again, you can see the variation of colours. Oh, I've missed two. I left those two out because they were difficult to do. But I shouldn't have bent the page back, but I did. This is the... So you can get some really nice watercolour effects and light shadows. So it looks like the spine's dark. I haven't done the labels. I left them white because I haven't decided what to do with them. But all this wood in all the shells is all from that little pan of colour. So it has a little bit of continuity, even though in places it's darker than others. But I really loved working in here. So there's two books I will only be using the Derwent watercolour pencils in. This one and the I use them in for Bible journaling. So I've got quite a nice variety. So I'm going to do the door. I think these probably could be black or bronze. So I have the gold metal colour here. So I'm going to use this colour again because, again, that brings the painting together. The old masters used to do that. You know, if they had a red in one corner, they'd try and get it somewhere else. I hope I haven't broken chat because I've tried to do a message. So I quite like this gold here. So I'm just going to touch these, and if it's really horrible, I'll change it. But I like the idea of those being a bit of a brassy effect. And if I really wanted to, I could use the the Kuretake Gansai Tampi watercolour gold, and that would give it a bit of a shimmer. So I can change that if I want to later. And again, the natural shadows have appeared. So everything that's sticking out with that little bit paler. That sticks out a little bit. Just make sure that I haven't broken chat. Hopefully I haven't. And again, that needs a door, so I'm going back to the brown. We may as well finish this little section. And I work differently to the Kirby Roseanne. The Kirby Roseanne, I pick the same thing all the time. Pick up all the leaves and the flowers. And this one, I'm working in a different way. So again, that's quite nice. So there's a natural knot in there which wants to be dark. And then this wants to be dark. So once I've gone through this section here, again, quite naturally, it's getting paler and paler and paler. So that means I can get some really nice natural highlights without touching white or black. And if I keep going, it will tease every little scrap of that watercolour out of this brush. So when I put it in here, there's absolutely nothing. So as a tight Yorkshire lass, I'm not wasting anything either. So I can use this tablespoon all day, because the little tiny bit of colour I'm putting on the end is being naturally washed away. Very similar to the Chameleon pens. I love those, but they work backwards. They have the liquid and the colour, and they put the liquid, and the felt pen keeps the colour, and it's the felt pen that goes naturally dark, whereas this goes naturally light. If that makes sense. So they work in the opposite way, but exactly, they work in the same way, but in opposite. These go from dark to light. Again, you see, I just got a really natural, and there was no effort. I didn't have to get another paintbrush, didn't have to get into the colour. It was just a natural progression across, and it's an easy way. That door is now done. If I wanted to kind of highlight things, I'd have to get like 3 or 4 pens out, and I don't want to do that. And again, because I've taken that to its extreme, when I put that back in here, there's absolutely nothing in there at all. The only time I wash the brush out in the pot, and I used this all day yesterday as well, the tiniest amount, and the only time I do that is if I get a colour on there and I change my mind. Then you have to wash it in a different pot. But apart from that, but because you think about it a little bit more, it's not often you do that. I'm going to give him a little red. He's carrying like a, I can't think what that is. It's like a globe. So we'll go with the flesh colour first. And again, the Derwent colour pencil has a flesh pink, which is very pale. So it's perfect for doing all these little legs, because you're not leaving them start white. You're putting that little tiny bit of colour in them. And I've still got some on the end of the brush, if you can see. Oh, welcome Stargazer, hi. Are you still with me? Sorry. That's fine, listen to my droning little voice. So somewhere we've got some more little peoples, shall we say. There's one here, but I just can't get to him. And because I've got this, and it's a damper brush than the Bible, I can just, the Bible journaling, I can just put that here, and that's just taken that. I have a smidgen more actually. And just taking that stark white off. And there's a little face poking out there. I'm just going to move this here so it's a bit easier for me to get to. So again, just giving that the tiniest amount of colour, but it's taken that stark white, so it's finished now. So I wonder if we should make these little green monks with little green outfits. Although there's a lot of green going on. A mauve outfit would probably be quite nice. And again, I've got this here is a nice, some nice ochres and brown colours. So I think this is going to be a light colour. So I could do the raw umber. So I'm going to just clean the brush, because it's a big area is this, so I want a natural highlight. And I may just have to move this slightly across and do it that way, and push that a bit. So we've got this little, I do like the raw umber, so that's number 56. And we could start here. I'm at a really wrong angle. If we just keep going up, that's given me a nice edge. And again, start again. And under here, we want a bit of a ridge and a bit of a shadowy highlight. And then bring that down. Possibly could have a bit more. And then tease a little bit of that colour down. It is a bit soft, this brush, but again, let's try it. And that's just given that a little bit of a highlight. So the raw umber, and it's a different brown to these, so again, that's what I wanted. I wanted a different brown because there's a lot of wood here, and I did want it that little bit different. And that's the same raw umber, but it's a bit neater on the edge, so if you don't brush again. And it depends on your climate, it depends on how many lights you've got underneath where you're working. I mean, this is quite warm here. And that was quite wet actually, I shouldn't have been that wet, but we can just put that onto here. And it's a very subtle colour, is this. And that was a bit wet, was that? But I've got to bring that down a little bit. And then from here, we can make this quite dark. And then once we've done that roof again, we now just have the tiniest amount of colour in there. So it's just taking the start white off, but it's left quite a natural highlight on there. And you can put a natural shadow under there if you want. Don't forget the wooden perch. And then we have a little bird here. So I think that looks like a blue bird, a blue tit that we have in the UK. So I'm going to do him blue. Now I have, again, the most beautiful range of blues. Just in the dough went watercolour pencils. And they go to the teals and the greens. And I think Kingfisher blue, actually. Oh, this is Kingfisher. I quite like that colour. It might be a little bit green, that. No, I'm going for Royal Oriental because I quite like that one. So, again, I've got to wash the brush out because I put the wrong colour on. And just a touch. And I can just... I'm pretty sure that this brush is going to be too wet. So I'm just going to put a touch with the right hand, which is going to be a bit difficult. And then I'm going to tease the colour out. It says she. No, I think I'm actually just going to go for it. So once I've got his body and his head, I can go this like this, and then that's going to be a lot paler. And again, just touch a little tiny bit of blue on the end there. And then by the time it's stroked through there, it's gone pale. Maybe it's gone a little bit paler, which is a bit... Sorry, there's a puppy next to me having a dream. I think this is a bit wetter, but it'll just stroke a little tiny bit of colour through there. So I've got a natural, again, a natural progression of colour. be that little bit. Again, I should really use the and I'm going to put the brown behind the door. I'm going to use this brown. I'm still going to use the same brown, I think. No, I'm not. I'm going to use a different brown. It's just the wood. It's just the wood I want. That decided. So I have a chocolate brown, which I'm getting a bit obsessed with. But chocolate brown next to blue is quite nice. So I'm just going to go in there in the darker areas with this brown. The chocolate is number 66. And then by the time I get to here, there's hardly any colour left. So that's given me a bit of a natural highlight as well. Might just go in with a touch more in here. And then that gives me that little bit of brown to play with. This wants to be darker in here. And I think that's one of those little black. I might do that grey actually. I think that's a little grey door. And just touch that where I shouldn't have done, so see if we can get rid of that. Oh, that's not too bad. And you bear in mind that's my fingernail, so it's a little small space, is that? We've coloured that little space in there. I think these are going to be bright green, these. Although that looks like a toadstool. So I may leave that because I can't see very well, so I shall leave that. And under here, not sure what's under here, but we've done a little bit. There's some terracotta bricks. Now I have a terracotta here, and I have a brick. Do I have a brick red? I think I have a brick red somewhere. Pale vermilion is a bit ready. Have a look at what other browns we've got. That's a bit warmer. I think burnt sienna is a little bit of a brick colour. Again, I don't want to get too hung up on it, but I just need to give those a little bit of colour. So number 62. And although I'm limiting myself to 72 to Derwent watercolours, you know, there are 72 colours, so I would think there's still quite a lot. There's still quite a lot. I haven't decided what colour to do these little men yet, the little coats they have. I think sometimes you've just got to leave. Now that they look like pots, they look like plant pots. But that looks like one of those blue and white ones we had when we were kids. I think I'm going to do this. I have some nice blues. But I am now looking at the grayscale, the colour scale. I think the light blue 33. And if we're very lucky, all the work will be done for us. And I'm pretty sure that the white's white, but the blue's blue. If that makes sense. So I hope everybody can hear me. I'm trying not to shout too much because I'm very near the camera, and It's just a hint of blue. This is a horseshoe, which should be shiny. I could finish this corner here, and I could put some more terracotta, but I think that colour will change. Let me have a look at the browns. So I used I think I used burnt sienna, but I think these are going to be a little bit pale, so I'm going to use brown ochre 2057. Just touch that, just to give them a bit of colour. And I'm going to just touch that brown, I think. No, it's slate, but I'll just give that little bit of colour behind there. And then I can call that section done. So that's finished. I quite like that. And again, it's dry, so that's nice. It's very difficult to deciding what to pick off. So if we move across here, there's a trug here. Look, is it a trug? I can't remember the word. I think it's a trug. And some gardening gloves. So again, we can have fun with the gardening gloves. There's a terracotta pot, so we know instantly that that's going to be terracotta. So if we can go in with a terracotta, and I've purposely made this. Again, if you go in the sides and work across, you get a natural highlight. I did that with the books. So you start here with the colour and you work across, and it gets paler and paler and paler. Well, normally it does. And if you work that way, sorry, if you work them the other side in as well, you should end up with a natural highlight in the middle. I quite like this carmine, so I'm just going to put carmine, just going to touch that little pink. I mean, these are the size of pinheads, I think. That's how tiny they are. Again, let's just give them that little tiny bit of colour. Hope you can see that. And again, I did a different brown. Oh, sorry, my voice is a bit ugh today. I need a different brown now, because I just want to give that little bit of definition. But the beauty of these is they get a real fine point. So although this is a number 3, that's quite a fine point, so I can actually do this. What colour do we want? Oh, you normally have blue windows in cottages, but it's a strange blue. Just going to give this a little bit of cottagey blue. And it's so tiny, you're not actually going to see that unless you look really closely. And because I didn't use any more of that blue, I've taken it off the paintbrush now. So we have a little red robin here. And I think deep, I've been doing my robins deep vermilion number 14. So he's got like a little bit of a red breast. And because he's kind of hidden away a bit, he's not going to be that bright, is he? And then we want a subtle brown fawn colour. And again, because I wanted the and all the work's been done for you on these little birds. He looks quite nice now he's done. There's some squirrely green. Now these are going to be really bright green, so I'm going to leave those for a minute. There's a bumblebee. So the bumblebee is going to be a really nice bright yellow. So I'm going to use him. I'm going to make him deep cadmium number 6, because we do want our little bee to stand out. And again, I can just put a little bit of flesh pink. And that's just going to take the white off his little wings. And I've got some of this colour on the end, so I'm going to find another little person. And we have a little person here peeping out. I'm just going to give him a little touch of colour to knock the start white off. And I think there's hundreds of these little creatures. There's a garden gnome there, he's not going to have that. It's just because I'm a tight Yorkshire lass and I can't just wash. And now I want to find a little person. I can't find him. Oh well, there aren't hundreds of the little person there. So that's not worth bothering with now. He's got a stick in his hand, so that's got to be quite dark. So I'm going to go to the quite fine paintbrush and go to chocolate brown. And really carefully this is where you need a dog hair, really. In fact, oh, he's not there. I was going to pinch a dog hair. He's just standing looking as the dog. Oh dear. I'm going to leave that. I'm going to do that with a dog hair when I get hold of the dog. Unless I use, this is quite a fine one. Let's have a look at this one. Well, this might do. This one is a Series 7 sable. I've had that such a long time because I don't think Jowett and Sowery is still about. Would have been better with a dog hair, but we've done it now. So it's holding his little stuff. But that is quite tidy, isn't it? Quite tiny. I do have a little bit of dark brown on there, so rather than waste it, I'm just going to get some shadowing on there. still damp, and of course brush is fine. Pop that back in the little box. So we've done the pot. There's the brown shelf to do. So again, just stroking that colour in, and there should be then some continuity. I'm just using the burnt umber, and that little is quite nice, that little hole that I'm creating, because it's going to give me some quite dark, and that actually isn't that dark, but this is dark under here. So I'm going to go over here with this. Because I wanted to get rid of that grayscale. And this is going to be yellow, I think. I'm going to put this into yellow, so actually I'm not. I'm going to take that across. So it's gone from really dark to very pale. And then I'll take this colour again. Work on the steps. And that's a little bit wetter than I normally work, but I'll do the steps because you can always go in darker, but what you can't do is ever go in lighter. So I'm quite happy that I've got some colour on there, and then I can go back in later and make it darker if I want to. And that looks like another blue pot behind there, look. So I'm going to do the same as I did with that. I'll go back to blues. And I think I used the Oriental blue because, of course, China blue was Oriental blue. So actually that's probably the right blue. And it's giving a little bit of blue in there, so that's quite nice. And the puppy's doing his thing in the kitchen, little rat bag. So there's not much colour in there, but just a little tiny bit. And that's what we want. So again, I think this is going to be blue under here. Oops. This is going to be blue. Again, it's all about the damp brush. It's all about the damp brush. Cannot emphasise that enough. It's all the brush. And the fact it's holding this dampness, which is manipulating the colour. Yes, the puppy's going to be in trouble in a minute. And that's given me a little bit of colour in there. I'm not sure if they're going to be the same. Probably going to be the same, so we'll give that, because we can finish this little section then. And it's always better because you know you don't have to go back to it. This is going to be a little bit bluer than perhaps it should have been. But I can always go over that if I really want to, if I'm really not happy with it. There's something going on in there. I'm not sure what that is. Oh, I know what that is. It's the tails of that, I think. We'll go back up to the gloves and the trug. So again, that needs to be a pale colour. I think ochre for this one. And that morphs into the actual tree here, so that's quite natural. Possibly could have a smidgen more in there. And I think this is a different colour underneath. I'm pretty sure it is, so I do that a different colour. We'll get these coloured in as well. And now the trug's finished. Oh, bye Christy, bye. Thank you for popping in. I always appreciate everybody bobbing in and out. That's wonderful. And thanks for joining me. I should be carrying on with this this little book. Again, it's quite therapeutic working in this. You have to concentrate a little bit, so it's quite good for pain relief, because you know you do have to concentrate a little bit. So I want some. I don't want green gloves really, but I might put red gloves because we seem to have a lot of green. So I'm just trying to think, what colour would I like? But gardening gloves are normally green, so I'm pretty sure they're going to have to be green. So we're doing a bottleneck green. I think they're normally bright green, so I think the mineral green is going to be nice. And again, a lot of the work's done. Try to keep that bit of a highlight on there. So I hope you have a lovely day. Christy, have a lovely day. Whatever you're doing. And I hope little P's got her knee up, resting. So if I do the fingers first, the finger ends, that should leave me a natural highlight on there. Oops. And I think that looks like a sunflower. Pretty sure, but then the bumblebee won't show up. So we'll have to do it a red flower, I think. There's a I thought it was a dragonfly, but I don't think it is. I can't think what they call those. There's another bumblebee there, look, so I'll pick that bumblebee off as well. Otherwise I'll forget what colour I used. So over here is another bumblebee. So he can be coloured in now. and he's in quite a solid colour. Should have some more bumblebees, or we just got 2. And then I just touch the flesh pink to get rid of the stark white on his wings. I can't see any more bumblebees. I can do his wings though while we're here. Oh, it's not a cricket. I can't think what they call them. It's gone. There's another terracotta pot here, and there's another little man, so I've got the flesh pink. I say little man, I mean little creature, so he can have that little bit of pink that was on there. And he stood on a brass. That's brass. We certainly can give. I have to go in with a little tiny brush again. You can give this little boat here. Little blue boat. I don't know if that's a pot. I can't make my mind up if that's a pot. But there's a basket, so we know that's a pale colour. So I hope everybody's okay. So welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live stream for Ustream.tv and also for recorded for YouTube, and I'm working in the Colin Thompson Fantastic book, and I need a pale basket colour now, so again I think it's going to be the yellow ochre, sorry, the brown ochre, number 57, and teasing that colour across. Again, I've got to, if I want the proper watercolour effect, I have to dunk the brush every time. And then tease the colour across. So that's giving me a natural highlight in the middle. I'm not sure what that is, but obviously the handles I'm putting in. And really want a sense of, this is the basket, so it's going to be quite a ridge there. So the little basket's done now. But I could put the brown in at the back, so we'll go back to this watercolour pan. I'm going to use the big brush for this because I want a nice natural highlight, I think. Twist it to a point and then get some colour in there. Now this will be quite wet, this. So we'll start at the top and stroke that down. Again, I'm not really sure what that is. Oh, I know what it is. It's the back of the basket. That was the idiot's test and I failed that one. So I need to go back to the terracotta brown. Brown, yellow ochre, and put that in the back. I want that quite dark because I really want a reflective shadow on that one. And then of course that can come down here. And by the time I've teased that out, if I go over this, it's going to be paler, even though. So that's made that quite nice as well. A bit difficult to get in there with this big brush. I can stoke some of that colour in there now as well. Which leads us to our little terracotta pot. So you wouldn't think they were the same browns, but they are. So just go to the terracotta. Terracotta pot colour, and I'll rinse the brush out because I've had that. It's a bit big as this brush, I was just saying, I've got a bigger pot anyway. I've got a large terracotta pot there. It's just a bit too wet, this, so I'm going to do this one here. Yeah, that's just that little smidgen too wet, but it's given quite a natural highlight to that, so. And sometimes you just have to do that rather than, again, tight Yorkshire lass. Can't waste that paint. And so I can move down here now. Sorry about that. Where's the little pot gone? There. I think this brush is probably too big. Yes, it's too big. I've done it again. I've done the same thing again. But I found another pot here. So I didn't waste the paint. I didn't waste the paint. This number 3 is quite a nice size. I have to say it's doing quite well for itself, this one. Again, terracotta and the little pot. So by the time I've gone round here and then started up here, I've got a really nice pale. And so that didn't take any effort, but I've got that. Oh, hi Suzanne. welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live stream for Ustream and recorded for YouTube for people to watch at their leisure. I'm in the Colin Thompson Fantastic book and I've been colouring little sections. There is a book there, but I don't know what I want to do that with, but I quite like this little area here with the bluebird, so I'm going to just do this colour the same. I quite like that. I think I like that colour. Unless I do that, I have to say I quite like this colour. Just double check. It's a little bit brick red. I think that would be fine. And because all the work's been done, there's just a hint of colour in here. And that was the purple turnip that we did the other day. So that little area is now finished. I've got this tree. I wanted to do the tree a slightly different colour, but because I've done this section here, oh, and are they toadstools or are they jellyfish? That's my eyesight. I can't tell if they're toadstools or jellyfish. So I'll leave this here. And I'm going to go for the bit bigger brush, I think, for this. Oh, thank you, Suzanne. Thank you. I'm still working with the Colin Thompson watercolours because I do like those colours. You couldn't let Alfie out, could he? Hasn't been out.
Yeah, well done.
Thank you, darling. Just pop the door to shut because it makes an echo. Thanks, darling. My little girl's just got up, bless her. So, just stroking this colour into here. And then it's quite naturally got quite pale. Just put that on an angle, and then this is quite nice. That's why I wanted a different colour for the door, really. Although I don't know if I did a different colour for the door. And this tree's got woodworm. How amazing is that? It's full of little holes. So it has woodworm. I think that's sunshine under there. I'm going to put blue sky under there. So. But these, because it's grayscale, a lot of work's done for you, so it's quite easy. We have to make a fuss because they run off, little terrors, and we don't have the car to get them. I found a little man sunbathing on here. Look. Oh, is it jellyfish? Oh, right, so I don't want to do them bright red. I'll do them pinky colours, salmon colours. Of course, because of course that's water, isn't it? Yes. Thank you for that, Suzanne. I think that's a piece of wood, but I don't know why it's there. We'll get this done. It's a bit tricky in that corner. Sorry, bark alert. If I carry on, I can do this tree under here. And again, for all that, I'm using this because I know this will last. So this little hollow I'm making is going to get bigger, bigger and bigger, but it's quite an easy. And then I don't have to worry about getting the same colours. Lots of different shades, But there's a continuity, which is what I wanted. Again, if I can tease that colour up there, there's a natural highlight. So thanks for joining me. Yes, Suzanne, it's funny you should say that. I've been the same. I've had like 2 or 3 hours for the last 4 or 5 days, and I'm a bit of a zombie now. So I don't know if it's the full moon or the nasty weather. Not sure. I've been the same. I think it was 3 o'clock when I stopped watching YouTube videos. And I said that one time when I could have done with somebody streaming, I couldn't find anybody. So, but again, a quiet place, I've got that in. Now I'll do this tree probably a different colour. We could do with some sky then behind here, and then I could put the sky in here. So again, I've got the biggest, no, I haven't got the biggest brush. I'm going to get the biggest brush. And this is the water pot, so I'm not wasting any paint at all. So I've got the biggest water pot. And the Irish blue is quite nice for sky, but I think I have a sky blue. So this is quite wet actually because it's a big area. And I'm just going to stroke that through there. And hope I don't take too much away from that. But I've actually put that in the background now doing that, so that's worked quite well. And there's a hint of blue, which again has made quite a nice background. And there's I think that's an owl. I'm not quite sure what that creature is there. So we've got an owl there. I'm not sure Alfie's going to be good. As per usual. And Alfie is never good. That's just taken that little bit of blue there. That looks quite nice, that. And then if I can just get, oops, behind the little grasshopper, that's what it is. Oh, I'm trying to think of the word. And yesterday I was calling the worms in the Imagimorphia, I was calling them worms. Of course they've got legs. So they're either centipedes or millipedes or caterpillars. But they're not worms because worms don't have legs. So I think that was lack of sleep as well. You think it's the moon. You think it's the moon. I think it's the moon too. Just a hint of blue there. But that means I've just taken off that stark white, and again I'm just a damp brush. Now they are taking a bit of a batting now of these colours, because I'm using them for the Bible page and I'm using them exclusively in this book. So normally my colours last a long time because I flick through and mix and match, but because I'm using them like this, then the colours haven't lasted. But I've made that a little bit too wet actually. But you can see how easy it's going to be. Could put some more blue in there actually, but I'm just going to leave that for a bit. I'm pretty sure that's a flower. So the sky blue now has taken quite a batting, and it was quite wet. So what I'm going to do is show you. So I'm going to make some paper palettes, big ones, probably that size, to sit in the back of the Bible, my little Bible, and also I put them away, didn't I? Oh, they are easy to get to. So if I lift this up, you'll see. Whoops, sorry. Everybody's sick. I'll just change the camera. This is my box of pencils, and as much as I would love to work out of these, when I do the demonstration of how good these pencils are, I probably will work out of these because I do need the pencils for some things, but most of the time, and we know that sky blue is 34, and so 34 is sky blue. Now this is a little touch wet. Well, it's not wet, it's damp. But all I'm going to do is, it's probably a little bit wet actually, I'll have to wait. But that's not one of my good points either, waiting. So again, this paper is only the sketchbook, but it's held out really well, and you know, that was quite a wet thing. So 3 or 4 times, that's how you make a square of colour, and now that's reconstituted, and there's quite a lot of colour back on there as well. So. And while I'm here, I can do the Blue Velvet Lake because I've been using that one, and that one is number 27. 27 is here. No, that's not. Well, that one's doing as well. Both those ones are really doing so. So 26 is light violet. So again, I don't have to bother. I can just scribble over the top. And when you start to see things on top, you realise that all you're doing is wasting the pencil. But again, you can see when it's shiny, it's completely saturated with colour again. And you can see this one when I've used it. This is 27 Blue Violet Lake. And just and these watercolours are so underestimated. But I will do. I need permission from Derwent first, but again, now that colour's going to last me a fair bit. But because I've started using them differently, I flip between lots of different pages. I'm using, because the Bible pages turned out really well today, so I want 26, 27 in there. and indigo 36. That's kind of and they've never been sharpened, these as I got them, so using the paper palette you've got a lot more control. But I'm going to do a series on dough watercolour pencils, but I need permission to show some of this video, and they haven't got back to me yet, but I'm hoping they will. I meant to do this yesterday, but I kept falling asleep. Juniper green, I've been using that as well quite a lot. So when I'm doing the Bible journaling, I'm using this, and when I'm using the Colin Thompson watercolour book. So I'm going to make, to fit in the back of here, because I was so pleased of how this watercolouring turned out. And it was a little bit crinkly, but I've been watching YouTube videos how to iron it, but there's no bleed through at all, and yet I've got a really nice watercolour effect if that decides that it wants to. I'm going to go over the blue again, but I was just playing with colour, but again, really liked how. Come on, Mr. Camera. Because it's not flat. It doesn't like it if it's not flat. But really like playing with the watercolours. It's because I'm shaking. I think I can't hold it. It's a bit heavy for me. I really like playing with these colours. So I'm going to make another palette, paper palettes, with just the dough to go in the back of here. And I can use it in the Colin Thompson book as well. But I probably will take this when I go anywhere because I love it. I can't go anywhere without it. But so if I could just work through this very carefully. So you start number 1. I know number 3, I redid that yesterday, but I've used a lot of it today. So if you've got any questions, pop them in cap. I chose those pencils because they're very underestimated. The pigment in them is amazing. And I can't find, just let me do this, I put this video somewhere, so if you look at number 3 gold, I know number 3 gold's here, and I can just scribble over the top. And the rose magenta as well, that's used up a bit more, so that's number 22. So I know I can just scribble, because that paper palette looks like it's thingied. As I say, if I had a choice of just, even though I love the Hydras and everything else I've got, I wouldn't be without my 72 watercolour pencils. Absolutely love them. But I can't use them as pencils. Even doing this is hurting, so again I was going to ask my daughter to do this for me. Whoopsie. And then the rose pink, I've used that quite a lot today. Just look at the greens because I've used quite a lot, and the Delft blue, I think it said 28, can't remember now. That one took a little bit of there's quite a lot of that one. And I didn't expect this sketchbook paper, cheap, to stand up, but it has stood up very well. And that's French Ultramarine number 29. mean, I was really putting some water onto here, and I would expect them to go to mush, but I'm very impressed they haven't. And this is Smalt Blue, number 30. I just have to tidy that one up a little bit. Prussian Blues. Number 30, 31, what's 31? Cobalt Blue. And you're just scribbling over the little square. It doesn't take much. And then you've reconstituted them this afternoon watching TV. Number 43 looks like it could do with something. And again, I can't sharpen a pencil, so my daughter will have to do that, bless her. So I'm going to do a series, but I want to show the parts of this video as well, but I've got to have permission, so. And sap green is number 49, so that's kind of got out of sync. I do like sap green though. I use it a lot, and that's why that's in watercolour pan sets and in tubes, because sap green is the one that especially pan air watercolourists, can't do that anymore now, sorry, right, but I've done that a little bit. And I've lost number 50. I've lost number 55. I don't know what I've done with it. It'll turn up somewhere, but I've lost it. So I love this box, but it's really not practical for me to be lifting that up and down. And I didn't buy it in the box. I bought the box separately. The coil ones would be good, as long as you keep the I think most of it is the paintbrush. Having said that, especially with the Bible pages being really thin and the watercolour in a napkin, most of these went through. I did a test on my, I can say my real Bible, but this was the test I did the other day, and you can see them. They don't bleed through, none of them. And we went through the little book. I think this is in the Bible journaling number 1. The only one was a little bit, is I went over it again, is because I wanted to do the lettering in Gansai Tambi watercolour and the gold. But everything's in there, the Derwent ink tens, the lot, even the Hydrus. They showed through, but they didn't bleed through. But the best one was these Derwent watercolour pencils. And so I decided that I didn't even want much of a show through. And I wouldn't even call that much of a show through. And again, I love the colours. I love the colours. So that was my choice. And even though I went over things a couple of times, I think it was there. It's forgiven me. So a little bit of a crinkle, but you know, this is really thin paper. So really love the Derwent watercolour pencils. And I can't find, the gentleman's name was David Cook, and somewhere there is somewhere near, because I was using it as a focus. It's the word I was trying to find. I was using it as a focus, so I know it's not far away. I've got that out for my daughter to use. If you've got any questions, pop them in caps, and then I can. There seems to be a gremlin in here that hides things. Oh, you've got the riggers. Oh, wow. Suzanne says she's got the riggers. Have you had a play with them yet? So somewhere not a million miles away is oopsie. Started an avalanche now. When you're determined to find something. I know it can't be far away because I showed it yesterday. I made the little plastic cover as well from an old plastic folder file for £1. Instead of buying, I mean, I'd love a Bible. It's lined. It's to protect your pages when you're Bible journaling. But again, I spent too much